Greetings, ex-Jehovah Witness community. This is the Oracle coming in for a long overdue video. Disclaimer, if you're easily triggered by topics of sexual abuse and pedophilia, this probably isn't going to be the best video for you. However, I've been meaning to do a follow-up video for a minute, and I finally just forced myself to have some time to just add my voice to the ongoing topic of sexual abuse. Greetings, if this is your first time on a video by myself, I am the Oracle. I don't show my face for professional reasons. It never had anything to do with my family knowing that I do videos or knowing I'm an apostate or anything like that. I've been out of the Jehovah Witness community for the majority of my life. I was literally the first person in my family to walk away from this religion and cult and call it a false religion, and many years ago. And I started doing videos simply because I wanted to add my voice, even if I couldn't show my face, because I wanted to give support and encouragement to people that are going through a lot of the things that I've gone through. One of the bigger things that I have advocacy is about sexual abuse and pedophilia. It definitely affected me, and it affected my family. I don't want to go through everything that I've already shared. If you're interested, please see a video that I did regarding my presiding overseer grandfather that I found out later in life was a pedophile and had been raping and abusing his daughters. And it was a huge family secret, which is why I titled this video, The Dirty Secret, How Sexual Abuse Destroyed My Family Revisited, because I actually needed to kind of go back and talk about that a little bit. I also had a mother that was mentally ill, and she had severe mental illness and had severe breakdowns. And in undergrad, I got my degree in psychology, and I've worked in the field. I don't work in psychology anymore, but I did work as a counselor and therapist for a little bit. I've kind of done a lot of things over the years, and I'm really proud of how far I went with my education. But I left at 17, right when I graduated from high school, so I was able to take my college and university career as far as I could. But one of the motivations I had on getting 2 degrees in psychology and social science was literally because of all of the things that I saw specifically with my mother, and wanting to kind of understand how someone can have such a huge fall. And as I started to uncover many things and learn things, I realized that my mother had been assaulted. She had been sexually assaulted. And again, I don't want to tell the whole story because I did do a video on it, but I'm just I have to mention it for the reason why I'm having this video. I found out after my grandfather died that my grandfather was a sexual predator and had raped and had been repeatedly abusing his children. And the reason that my grandmother never said anything is because of the 2 witness rule, and because of the way that women are treated in the Jehovah Witness organization, and how they are. And another huge reason I left at 17 is because I could not deal with the misogynistic environment of the Jehovah Witness organization and the way that women were treated, and the way that they were identified on a scale of being beneath men. Like, it just, that never sat with me, ever. So let's bring it to present. Why am I doing this video? So the dirty secret. So that was a dirty secret that my family had. And it was very probably one of the most shocking things that ever happened to me, because it was such a secret. And if you had been around my grandparents and my aunts, you would have never thought that this had happened, because the aunt that told me, even though she had been disfellowshipped for something else completely, and is still not a Jehovah Witness, but I never saw her really attack a lot of the doctrines. There were some things she didn't agree with, but I think there were other things that I have always believed that she did agree with. So she wasn't one who like totally said this is a false religion. I've never really had conversations with her specifically about everything. So I do think she knows the religion's not good, but I think there are still things that she agrees with in regards to the beliefs of Jehovah Witnesses, and I'll leave it at that. But the aunt that came down and talked to me with my cousin was someone who did above and beyond more than most of her other siblings for my grandparents, and especially my grandfather. So when she confided in me after he passed away on how abusive he was to her, I was absolutely shocked. Because again, it kind of felt like my family, especially my aunts and uncle that knew about this, were protecting the image of a sexual predator, which I just could not understand. Like, what was the point of being rallying around him? And so many people went to his funeral, and it was just so important to, you know, keep this image of this person as a great, you know, person, when in actuality he was a low life, and as someone who had victimized young people and his children. Like, how do you justify that? And there's a lot of nuances to the story that I'm saying, but that really bothered me. I really didn't agree with it. I was like, what is the purpose of promoting this image of my grandfather as this great man when he actually was not a great man? He was an abusive person. And I think some of it really has to do with the way that men are treated in the Jehovah Witness organization versus how women are treated in the Jehovah Witness organization. And I think for my family, because I'm a third generation. When I was born, I was a third generation. My parents were born in, my grandparents were converted when they were very young. So this doctrine, this mentality is very deep, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. So I had a real problem. With the secret of hiding, you know, what my grandfather had done. And I hate when victims feel ashamed of something. Why are you ashamed? This is not, you didn't do anything wrong. This is something that we should all be honest about and face. Because I think hiding the stuff that my grandfather did and trying to keep an image up has really continued to destroy my family. I'm going to tell you why. So about a month and a half ago, my cousin calls me, and it's very late. It must be about 11:30, 12, midnight, and she is crying so hard, and I'm trying to get her to calm down, you know, and talk to her, and I'm trying to understand what had happened. So the backstory on that, this is like one of the only family members that I actually talked to. And this is literally because she never got baptized and she never was a witness. She, you know, she would go to Kingdom Hall occasionally, but, you know, this is the aunt that was disfellowshipped. Her husband was disfellowshipped, and, you know, they just never forced the religion on their kids. And my cousin just never became one. She used to come with my grandparents, but she kind of went her own way. She got her education, had children, but she had one child before she got married. But my cousin's actually done very well for herself as far as education. She's done very well. She got married. She has children. She has stepchildren, and she had a child before she got married. So this one daughter also was a victim of sexual abuse. And it's so interesting that the sexual abuse that she had, that happened to her, there's that Jehovah Witness in the background. And I don't mean the person that did it was a Jehovah Witness, but that ideology of protecting the perpetrator and blaming the victim was something that she experienced with not just my family, but with the family of her father and his wife's family, because his wife's family were in and out of the Jehovah Witness religion. So, you know, I'm seeing this. So one of my aunts, who to this day, I've not talked to her about it, but one of the things that she did that I never agreed with is blaming my cousin's daughter for some of the things that happened to her, or telling her to get over it, or when she would be around men that might be inappropriate, she would make comments like, you need to put on your big girl, you know, pants and get over it. And I'm calling out this one aunt because, again, I think that here's the thing that is so hypocritical. There's also a male sort of cousin. And I don't want to go too far in this because I don't want to reveal too much about that situation because it triggers people. And I know that some of them actually watch my videos. But there's another cousin that was sexually assaulted. But because he was a male and he was sexually assaulted, he gets more sympathy. There's no blaming of him for anything that happened. But the females in my family, when things happen, there's no sympathy, there's no compassion, there's no support, there's a lot of condemning. So the men, when they do things, when they're victimized, everyone rallies around them. Everyone, you know, tries to, like, you know, hush stuff up and protects them. But when it comes to females, they're condemned, they're mistreated, they're told to get over it, it's in the past, put it behind them. And this whole, not just sexual abuse, but this whole demeaning and defeating way that women are treated has totally destroyed my family. And when I say totally, I mean on so many levels. And it's only the strong ones, and it's only the ones that are committed to empowering the women and the legacy of my grandmother and my mother and my aunts is not going to let it happen. And those are the reasons that I do my videos, because in the name of my mother, who is now transitioned, and my grandmother, who's transitioned, I refuse to allow the victimization of women to be the legacy of my family. And I refuse to allow dirty secrets of sexual abuse to destroy the morale, destroy and defeat people that have been victimized. I'm putting my foot down. I'm not going to let it happen, but I wanted to share it because, again, the only way that we can be empowered is by talking about things and not being afraid to speak on things. So, you know, this dirty secret, my cousin is crying. And, you know, I'm asking her why she's so upset, you know, what's going on. And she, you know, she tells me of, you know, some situations that she's having with her daughter, because her daughter because when someone's been victimized, sometimes they act out and they have emotional issues. And she has some emotional and mental issues, which are to be expected because she has gone through the things that she has. However, she's not truly getting the help that she needs. And so because she's not getting the help that she needs, she victimizes her mother and her grandmother. And on that particular occasion, my cousin was calling me because she had just had children. She had just had children and had physically attacked my cousin, and was when she gets triggered and she has these outbursts, she says a lot of hurtful things to her mother. And that was the reason that my cousin had called me. So I was listening to my cousin and I was talking to her and I was trying to calm her down, because she's like, she's done so much for her daughter. And her daughter just is not in a place of healing yet. And she takes a lot of things out on my cousin, her mother, when she's trying to help her. And of course she got pregnant. She had twins, wasn't in a relationship with the guy that, impregnated her. And now she's, has 3 children because she already had a child. And it's like, you're engaging in reckless sexual behavior, and you're not married, and you're not in a stable 2-parent, household. So, and you don't have like a lot of money. So you set yourself up in this situation. Your mother and your stepfather latently is trying to help you, but you can't attack them for these things. I mean, we all, understand why she's doing these things, but if she doesn't get the help that she needs, then she's going to actually be victimizing people the same way that she was victimized, which is something that, like me being, friends with my cousin, and telling her there's only so much you can do at this point. You don't want to get into a situation where she's assaulting you, or you're doing things where you are kind of enabling her indirectly, because she has to actually get help. You know what I mean? So, just because someone has been victimized doesn't mean that they don't have a responsibility of not mistreating and victimizing others. Because a lot of times, me actually having been a counselor and worked with people that have been in prison, and worked with people that were on probation, and worked with people that were in social service and needed all kinds of social service, a lot of times when you interview these people and counsel them, you'll realize that they have been victims of things themselves. So we're having this conversation. I'm trying to calm my cousin down. I'm trying to get her to just relax and to feel better about herself, and trying to give her some things that she can use to help to diffuse the situation in the future. So my cousin makes a statement to me, and she's like, I wish you had never told my daughter what happened with Grandpa to my mom and your mom and all the other people. And I was like, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, I have to be honest with you. I try to listen. I try to be compassionate, but let me just do the short version of what happened. Because to be perfectly honest, I'm a little tired of hearing it, because I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm not going to let this dirty secret of protecting my grandfather, who was a sexual predator, be placed on my lap, because you can't deal with the fact that Grandpa wasn't this great man that you tried to make him out to be. He was a piece of what. Okay, I'm refusing to uphold the delusion. And I'm just not gonna so let me just tell the story first. So, because I'm like, first of all, that's actually not what happened. So I tried to reach out to my cousin's daughter, who I literally call my niece, because my cousin and I were raised like sisters. And I knew that she was dealing with a lot of things. So I used to let her come down on the weekend, and I would spend time with her, and I would, take her out and do things for her. I would send her money when she was in college. I mean, she's a very smart person. She's emotionally troubled, but she's very smart. She graduated with honors from college. So she does have a lot of very good qualities. And because I know what that's like to have the family turn on you, I reached out and was having her come down. So she was telling me so one weekend that she had come down, we were talking, and, we were talking about, things that are going on, and we're talking about, some of the troubles that she's having. And I share with her of my own personal things that have happened to me, which is, that I was, molested by, my grandfather. But I didn't realize it because it was a repressed memory. And then I talked to her about what happened to my mother. And so what I'm sharing with her, and so she looked up and she was like, so you mean Grandpa, who was her great grandfather, is like, what are you saying? Did he molest my grandmother, who is my aunt? And I said, well, I'm not going to be the one to give that information. If you have questions about, what my grandpa did with your mom, your grandmother, you're gonna have to ask her. But I'm just gonna say that he's a sexual predator, and we as a family need to heal over that. So my point is that when I said that to her, I said it to her in a healing way. I said, listen, this is not something for us to really discuss with anyone. This is just something for us to share with each other and to help to heal. So that's basically what I saw that was happening, and this is what I was hoping would happen, and this is what I wanted to see happen, is that we could talk about something, that it would be healing, and that she would feel empowered. So I didn't think anything else of it. So maybe about a month after her visit, I got a call from my cousin who said, that she's come back and told everybody that Grandpa raped my mother and has thrown it up in her face. And then I got a call from my aunt, and I got text messages. So basically, her daughter took the information that I shared with her and told everybody. And I did, literally, I was coming from a place of, healing, like you're not alone. Like, this is something we need to, as a family, address. It was certainly not, and it was like, when I found out, I was like horrified. Like, my cousin told me as soon as she got back from visiting you, she told our next door neighbor. She threw it up in my mom's face. And I'm like, well, literally, I never told her that her grandmother was raped. I told her that Grandpa was a sexual predator, that he had done things to his daughters. I was not going to speak specifically about that because that's something that you need to hear from her. You need to ask her. I'm not going to validate that or say yes or no. So I was like, yeah, that's terrible. I'm so angry with your daughter for doing that. But again, I really didn't realize that she was not in an emotional place. But I think my point is that I wasn't staying up at night crying about it, because although I wish that her daughter hadn't done that, it really wasn't anything that I did wrong. And I'm not going to allow the behavior of, again, let's not lose sight of what happened here. There's a perpetrator that victimized the family. Let's put it out in the front. Let's talk about it. Let's not dwell on it. Let's learn to heal from it. So that's kind of the way that I looked at it. So when my cousin brought it up to me in this conversation, when she had called me on the phone like a month ago and was crying and said, I wish you had never told my daughter, what Grandpa had done. And I was like, we need to stop letting this secret, and this is that, we need to stop letting the secret control us. So somebody can say something to you that you may not be proud of, but if you don't react to it, there's nothing, it's like throwing a ball and watching it fall to the floor. Like it's only in play if you sort of go back and forth with it. You know what I mean? So it's not like, why you can't, someone can't throw something in your face if it's nothing to throw in your face, if you're not reacting to it at all. So, it's kind of like the reason why I'm doing this video. Dirty secrets. Dirty sexual secrets. And I kind of want to do sort of a comparison. There was a really good film I watched years ago called Secrets and Lies, and I really love foreign films, and I love films from other countries. And so this was a film from England, and it was about a black female who had found out that she was adopted, and then found out that her mother was white. And I think what made the film so interesting is that the black female didn't look like she had any white in her. And then secondly, the mother, her birth mother, had never told anybody about it and had a daughter. For anyone that's ever seen this is a great film. And there's a scene in the film where her brother knew that she had gotten pregnant and gave the daughter up for adoption, but they had all been covering this stuff up. And so when the woman, the black woman, she was a obstetrician, went and she confronted her mother and said, I really would like to know you and have a relationship with you, because her adoptive parents had died. And so they first started getting to know each other. And then, she was like, well, I want to introduce you to the rest of the family. But she realized that in order for her to do that, she was actually going to have to expose some lies and some secrets that she had been keeping from her daughter and for the rest of the family. And the brother, there's this great turning point, because everyone's hurt and ashamed, and then mother's embarrassed. And, but he's like, secrets and lies have destroyed our family. And we need to stop letting it destroy our family. And it was such a great scene in the movie. And I thought about it, and I was like, thinking about my cousin crying, and, I wish you had never told my daughter. I'm like, first of all, I didn't tell your daughter that your mom was raped. But I'm not going to apologize for talking about the sexual abuse that happened in our family. And cease and desist bringing it up. If you're gonna bring it up, let's criticize and let's put the blame where it needs to be, which is the person who did it. Like, I'm not going to continue to protect this man who created all this ruckus in our family. Get the help that you need for your daughter, but don't try to misdirect some of that, because the blame needs to go where it needs to go. So I shared this story as a revisit to say some of the things that we can do to empower ourselves. I always want to end with, let's do some healing. Is to stop letting sexual abuse control our lives. We need to heal from it. We need to face the perpetrators. We need to stop continually victimizing females and women that have been victimized by predators. And the Jehovah Witness organization and the atmosphere of the Jehovah Witness organization continues to do that. And it's just so counterproductive. Secondly, or most importantly, we need to heal. See, you can't be hurt by something if you don't react to it. If someone was to say to me, your grandfather raped your mother, or, like my husband was like, I shared something with him and he got mad or something. I'm like, yeah, he did. He's a piece of shit, excuse my language, but he was. And, I'm not going to react to it like, oh my God, how dare you bring that up to me? I didn't do anything. It's like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, he did it. And I'm not proud of that, but why should I be ashamed? It wasn't anything I did. He did it. The thing that I'm concerned about is the after effects. And again, it's not something that you want to talk about at the kitchen table over dinner. But I don't think it should be anything that we are ashamed of. We should learn to heal from it. And again, one of the things that I think the Jehovah Witness organization is terrible at is trying to, it's the hypocrisy. You know, on one angle, they want you to get over things and want you to put it behind you, especially as it pertains to men. But women, once you've been tainted, it's like you're tainted for life. And you're just not given the same respect and understanding. And so we need to reclaim that. And so that's sort of one of the reasons that I wanted to do my video, is to talk about healing, to talk about sharing, and to not let dirty secrets of sexual abuse control us. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope to talk to you soon. I hope you're doing wonderfully in these trying times, and always find the place of happiness, which is inside yourself. Let's talk very soon. Have a blessed day.